What's going on?
Oh,
You want an investment edge, but all you hear is noise, hype, and half-truths. Every signal is solid information, but only if you can see the bigger picture. This is where the Quasar magic happens. Weather, charts, news, all financial signals, funneled into a single dashboard. Data alone isn't enough. Quasar Markets turns it into energy, sharp, clear, precise. Optimize with Quasar Markets today, your edge when investing.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Good morning, BigBeat. What's going on, my friend?
you know, how many times have we heard that quantum computing is too early? AI is not happening. I mean, I've heard it all, right? Crypto is dead. I mean, all of the nonsense that you hear out of traditional financial media, none of it's right. Qubit got a huge contract. Palantir, $1 billion in revenue. This is a $1 trillion coming up, man. There's no doubt about it. They're 1/3 of the way there. And if you look at, Bitcoin and crypto, right back up, although President Trump didn't help any this morning on CNBC. But I will say this much. Let's be honest. This market is overvalued. And you just heard it a few minutes ago. CNBC's David Faber just said he cannot believe that traders aren't buying his crap. I mean, this morning, this thing is getting awesome, right? The market is just resilient as can be. And I'm agreeing with David Faber. We are over our skis again. And let me tell you, we talked about this several times. The market itself in general is way out of whack. It's still out of whack. It needs a correction. And if it saw a little bit of that taste on Friday, we're still not there yet. I'm still sitting on my hands. Yes, look, I get it. Yesterday was the biggest. And Howard, you and I talk about it all the time. In bull markets, which we're in, some of the biggest down days are in bull markets. In bear markets, some of the biggest days of the upside are in bear markets. So don't be surprised when you see those kind of moves. But people are just really nervous. Coinbase, another good example of that, right? $2 billion convertible note offering. These companies aren't stupid. They're taking advantage of traders. They're saying, my valuation is very rich, so I'm going to take some of that money off the table. And they're doing that right now. So that's why I'm saying be careful out there.
Yeah, you hit on a bunch of things there. starting off with, yesterday up day across the board in general. S&P up almost at 1.5%. NASDAQ almost up 2%. Dow plus 1.34. Definitely kept the market moving. Palantir, as you said, had earnings to cap off the day, hit 1 billion in revenue milestone. They had all kinds of great news there. I actually took profit a little bit early, not yesterday. I had a 170 sell in there. So I did take some profit on my Palantir there on some of it. I kept 3/4.
Let's be honest. I'm going to be on Schwab later today, and that's what they're asking me to talk about is Palantir. And I'm going to tell you right now, Palantir, I love Palantir. Everybody here knows I love Palantir. I love Palantir at $35 a share. I don't love Palantir at 172, right? Look, there's a lot of issues around Palantir, and there's some of the things I will talk about. They have a couple of things they have to do. I love it. They're going to be a $1 trillion company, but I think they're, again, one of those companies that the valuations are way out of whack, right? They're just way out of whack. And I don't be disappointed if they do some convertible notes and they do things here. But here's a couple of points that I want to make. The first point I want to make of Palantir is their profit margin, not their margin on their product like Apple. Profit margin is 81%. That's got to be the highest in the industry. So that's a little too much. That's too rich for my blood. Number two is they have to, can they execute? Are they in a position, okay, they've got all this money. They've got all these contracts. They've got all these people. They're embedded in the U.S. government. Can they execute? Because if they can execute, then they've changed how we fight wars. They have changed how we have supply lines around the world. They are going to be make the U.S. government more efficient. So I'm good with that. This is great. But can they actually do it? Can they get it all done? Because right now they don't have competition until today, because the government just gave OpenAI and Google civilian contracts in AI. So that also does not lend Palantir into civilian AI contracts. So can they expand to where they are? Their commercial contracts are growing, but in the government, the civilian contracts have now been opened up to OpenAI and Google. So we have to be very careful about Palantir's next level of profitability, and it ain't going to be 81%. So be careful there. I agree with you, Howard, on Palantir taking some profit off.
Yeah, I'd point to all the, you've got some points in there, quite honestly, most of them don't hold up versus the numbers. They
in the past, I agree with you. I was the first one to say Palantir. But in the future, you got to execute. Now you got to do it.
But they have their plan. 73% of their revenue right now is made up in the U.S., but they've moved that from 88%. So they are not only doing things when it comes to civilian sector where they're dominating. Again, when you compare them to the other options when it comes to cybersecurity issues or answers in a civilian thing, they're the ones that do the DoD. So they're the ones that have an upper hand when it comes to this. U.S. commercial growth up 93% year over year. Government growth 53%. It's just insane.
What happens?
Unyielding. What's that?
What happens in the future? Like I said, I agree.
Well, you just said it. They're going to be a $1 trillion company. This is the company that's going to, in my opinion, redefine what it is to be a cybersecurity company. They were a cyber defense company that has turned into being, a much bigger player. So the same way that NVIDIA moved from where it was 3 years ago, Palantir has made that same type of move, but it's backed with what I would say is, yes, they've overexceeded on everything on every level. In other words, you've never heard a hack with Palantir involved. You've never heard of an issue in our defense or anything. Yeah. Right. But again, I can only go from past experience. And as you know, Palantir has been in the defense area for a decade.
They have.
You know what I mean? And what they've proven is they don't lose their sort of head guys like we see with a lot of the others too. No one leaves to start something else up. Part of that is even their CTO now a billionaire. On the latest valuation. So those are the things that I look at. I look at it very deeply. And the difference is they don't have people, spurring off to start their own companies. They're just touching what they can do at an international level. And we know how services are one of the areas that we do export so well across the globe. They have been unyielding in their approach towards commercial. And they're really putting it to the snowflakes and the other folks in that area who who also trade at 100x forward earnings. So you know what I mean? Is their competition lives in this area.
Earnings.
What's that?
Look at the PE ratio on Palantir.
Oh, it's got to be like
it's not 100x. You want to look
oh
at
no, it's got to be higher today by
300x.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was 263 or something before earnings. So yeah, no, I know where it trades. I mean, that's absolutely.
Should be when it opens up this morning, be like over 300x, and that's to me is crazy.
Yeah. Unless you keep growing your revenue by 100% a year, and then valid, that's what I mean. Is there's no crinks in, they were already dealing. I'm with you. And I was funny. I was looking the last time I had bought Palantir before recently sold it was at $24. So just keep in mind, I get it. It's just, again, they're doing everything you need to see. Like you said, that, I want to know what your forward guidance is. I want to know what your actual earnings are versus last year, not against a weaker EPS or earnings on the street. And they did all those things in spades. So it still goes. There some other things that, obviously we said president was on today. I guess he doesn't have a love affair with Mr. Mondi anymore, huh?
Yeah, look, when Trump went to Tim Cook and said, all right, you need to move your manufacturing to the United States. Tim Cook said, I can't, Mr. President, because quite frankly, unless I have machines that make my phones for me and every year I have to retool, I can't do that. It's not going to work because the cost of that phone is outrageous. Okay. So that phone was being made in several places, one of them being Vietnam. So on the back of that, he started to move a lot of manufacturing, and now most phones now, iPhones, are made in India.
Yeah. He's got to be pissed.
Wow. This is really tough on Apple in a lot of ways, right? I believe
this is a fight. This isn't just a little rhetoric. They're not
a little rhetoric.
Lining up on the side of Mondi, and this is a big deal.
It's a very big deal. It's terrible. It's irrational. It's irresponsible of the president to speak like this, especially on CNBC. It's very irrational and very irresponsible. We are a good trading partner to us. India has been a very good country to us. They have many.
Not according to him. Not according to him.
Very, very irrational. I don't understand this. I get the taco trade. I understand it's the art of the trade or whatever. The art of the deal. This is not good because India is a very close partner to the United States, and.
Well, you don't want to push him to bed with Russia either. Does he understand?
That's right. I'm very concerned, but they're on the border of China, and
it's closer. It's a lot easier for them to get stuff from there, right?
I don't understand this. This is not a good position here. This is not a position of strength on our side. We need India, and that's hard for me to say that we need them because they are a country that supplies and they supply a lot of technologically. We have a lot of Indians themselves coming to the United States to help us as well. In technology, I mean, the number of people that are working at Apple, they're working at Microsoft, at Google. They have some of the brightest, right, coming over here and doing code. So this thing about the fight with India is nonsense. I will tell you what I will do, because I do believe the taco trade is going to happen. I do believe that the Indian rupee is at the lowest against the U.S. dollar, I think, in history. I have to look it up. I'd be buying Indian rupees right now.
Okay, there you go. Until he bans you from owning them.
What's that?
Until the president bans you from owning them. I mean, you got to go through his interview on CNBC. If you didn't see it, you got to watch it. Because there's just so much to go through. JP Morgan and Bank of America allegedly dropped him as a client. When he left the White House, he said, what do you think Jamie Dimon's going to say about that? Because he won't hold his tongue. Moynihan might.
I think banks are in trouble. I think the president has made it very clear that he is not a fan of banking right now, even though his former Secretary of Treasury owns a bank. So I don't know what's going on there. But banking is in trouble, and it is in normal banking right now is in trouble. Last month, Wells Fargo borrowed $200 billion to stay afloat. I made a post about that, right? That's just a case of continual liquidity. I mean, they no fault of their own, right? And get this, I mean, we could see another 8%. I'm hearing another 8% drop in home prices. If we don't lower rates fast, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
because people are moving. So when you look at the rates compared to, and that's how banks make their money. So if rates go down, that margin gets squeezed. They're not Palantir, right? Their margins are very small, 2, 3, 4%. Now it's numbers because they're getting free money, but the government's giving free money to Palantir, so there's a different situation. Now on this situation, you've got two of the largest banks in the United States, J.P. Morgan and Bank of America, and in the world, dropping the president as a client.
They are the two largest U.S. banks, I believe, by market cap.
You watch. Mark my words. Mark it down. BigBeat says this, that Trump probably have his own bank within the next month or two. Right? They'll start their own bank. Probably, if you don't know, the Bank of New York was probably one of them, but I don't see that happening. We'll see.
Other news that he broke on the air there, Treasury Secretary Bessent won't be the Fed chair. Said that he very much is happy in his job, and his quote was he wants to work very closely with the president, so he doesn't want to leave that position. Short list so far. He only named 3 of the 4. Do we think Michelle Bowman is the 4th person? Because he did pass it out. He did say the 2 Kevins that we've talked about, Warsh and Hassett, and then of course Christopher Waller, who put the knee pads on at the last meeting.
All right, let's get right down to it. I had Kevin Green from Schwab Network on it last night. We talked about this. Look, the Fed governor who left, Kugler, she has. I know the president said that he didn't like her. Okay, but the truth is, she had family issues, and she had not been at the last 2 meetings, and she had to drop out because of family issues. So we know that it's not a political issue. So I don't know what anybody's talking about. That's not political. All right. So in this case, you've got Chris Waller from St. Louis, Kevin Hassett. Sorry, NEC ain't happening. And Kevin Warsh. Now, you've got 2 positions opening up here now. With Kugler, she going now, whoever you see between Chris Waller and Kevin Warsh go in as a Fed governor, right? The other one will be the chair. So I don't think that there's any other issue there. Then we will know who the Fed chair will be once he's picked the replacement for Andrea Kugler.
The only thing I would say that puts that in there is he did come out and say he could install a shadow chair to undercut Powell until his term ends in May 2026. Now, again, this is his quote. I am not saying that he can.
Right, he did.
I don't know that at all, and I'm not jumping up on that. I'm just telling you that he said that.
Last time we politicized the Fed governor and the Fed chairs and the Fed itself, we had a depression, a great depression. We have got to stop politicizing the Fed. There's a reason why they are separate, because they need to make separate decisions because the president makes a decision, Congress makes a decision, but the Fed has to be independent. When you get your fingers in the Fed, we have a problem because now they're not being pressured by political winds. They need to keep a steady hand on our. That is why our dollar stays the way that it is, strong, because the Fed does what they do. So the politicizing of the Fed upsets me, because we as fiduciaries and we as traders have to have a strong hand, a steady, heavy hand on the economy. Now, I agree with the president. They need to lower rates, and they need to use data, and they need to use updated data. I've said this for decades now, and they don't do that because and it's a good point that was been made by several of the contributors on the show, that majority of the members of the Fed are educators. They're professors. They're not in the business, right? So we need more people that are in the business and not just lifetime in the Fed and a lifetime and as a professor at whatever
Academia,
Ivy League school. Great. I'm glad they are, because we need educated people in there. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but we need people that understand Main Street and understand business, because we are the ones that power the economy that they tax, right? So it is an ecosystem that needs to be separated, and their hands can't be in that, right? You are the president of the United States. You have a choice. You pick the person you want. That person has to have that steady hand. Now, I don't care what Trump says every other week, that he did pick Powell, right? And Biden kept him in there. So that steady hand has been there throughout, right? We went through COVID. We went through a tiny recession, possibly another recession. We're not really defining it. And here we are again, possibly going into another recession, if not in it. Some people think we're on a recession. So politicizing the Fed is not a good place to be right here.
Yeah, no. Listen, Fed rate cut hopes 90% September cut. Yeah. And we see some people, including Jeffrey's strategist, calling for inter-meeting cuts after the game-changing payroll came in. And we saw Mary Daly come out as the first speaker and said it looks appropriate now.
So maybe Trump should have another bank that gets cuts. I mean, Jeffrey's that's outrageous.
Yeah, we don't need.
Maybe the last time we had an intermeeting cut, and what happened to the market. And I had this conversation with him yesterday. I mean, the market doesn't. It's not even a tailwind. It is it's like a crash, right? We do not want that. That means that there's something really, really, really bad in the economy, and we don't want that. We want good news to be good news and bad news to be bad news. If bad news becomes good news, which is what's happening now, the bad news, the jobs dropping here now, and you're going to cut rates, and that's still good news because there are some tailwinds to push the market back up. But if bad news, jobs, and we have to have an intermediate cut, that's bad on bad on bad, kaboom, we're going to have a drop. Now, pretty protective. We all know VXX, VIX. We've all talked about it here. So have insurance on your portfolio. We already know. Oh yeah, we know. Jumps up, take some profit up, reevaluate almost every time. But my God, if we have an intermediate cut, the market's done. We're done. And this is going to be a pullback of 20%.
Let's get into some of the companies here. Well, actually, I do have. Do I have? I think I had. Oh yeah, here we go. More macro. I tell you, who is following you out of the market is non-U.S. insurers. So those that don't know, insurance companies have wide swaths of our money that they need to invest in case something goes wrong, so they can pay us back. Although they choose not to usually, but that's their job. But they have cut their U.S. equity exposure or asset exposure from 56% to 51%. I couldn't find a breakdown on bonds versus stocks here on this. I tried to, just couldn't find a solid answer I trust there.
Normally it's 60-40. They're mostly 60-40 insurers are. They stick to the rules.
Yeah. And then lastly, do keep in mind too that yesterday's rally came on very light mini futures volume. Yep. So, keep in mind, could be that bull trap that Mr. BigBeat talked about there. And then speaking of big beats, how about Pfizer there, buddy? We've been talking to Eli Lilly. I guess we took our eyes a little bit off of Pfizer there. I know I have.
I said Pfizer, Merck. These companies are way undervalued. They're still building. And I've said this on the show several times. The one thing I liked about Pfizer is that they're using AI to make their new drugs. And I've said this, I can't tell you how many times, 6 months, Pfizer, Merck. There's other companies out there doing the same thing, right? AI is helping them to cut down the number of people that are doctors, and because we don't need the interactions anymore. So Pfizer is one of those companies. Look at their revenue. I mean, it's outrageous.
Yeah, revenue jumped 10% year over year to $14.65 billion, beating the street by over $1 billion. Adjusted EPS came in at 78 cents, crushed estimates by 34%. And what's powering that is a strong mix of growth across their core drugs, Vyndaqel, Carmarthen, I can't even say that one, Paxlovid, Padcev, and Eliquis.
Yeah.
Paxlovid, there you go. The heart and antiviral portfolio is carrying the company's rebound effort. And what's more impressive is they raised their guidance despite pressure from tariffs from near China, Mexico, and Canadian facilities. So despite the looming threat of 250% pharma tariffs, I don't know if you heard that this morning also from the president, they're calling it early but confident that the demand and margin expansion will hold. They did lower their guidance on their R&D spending, as you mentioned, continuing their path towards that 7.2 billion in cost savings. So, you know, again, everything we see from Pfizer looking really good so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Pfizer. I think Pfizer's good.
Other news today, ChatGPT, 700 million weekly users. So 700 million, as we've talked about, increase continuing.
So let's put that in perspective. There are almost 7 billion people on the planet.
Yep, absolutely.
So, you know, I've said this, that AI is not going to replace you.
We're at 1% adoption. Is that what that is?
Yeah. So you think about that. I've said this all along. AI is not going to replace your job, but the person learning it is, and you're seeing that very quickly working. And that's just ChatGPT. That's not all the other AIs that people don't. You know,
I'll point out that adoption level is only one. Bitcoin's at 6% adoption worldwide. So just think about that.
Bitcoin's been around 5 times longer than ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is how early the AI. I'm using that as a reference to say, hey, you know, keep in mind that even as big as AI we think it is right now, that is the adoption level less than Bitcoin's up there. So interesting. DuPont, one of the Dow components that has in general been a laggard, had a nice beat on the top and the bottom, and up nicely here, about 5.6%. So that was an interesting one. They had really been a laggard for the Dow Jones over the last, you know, year or two. Another couple that are up pretty nicely, Duke Energy. They beat their Q2 reaffirmed fiscal year guidance. Shares are up 1.5%. Another one that I'm not that familiar with, we always joke about, Lemonade. Their revenue beat, loss narrower than expected, shares up 7%. And then one that I know you're a fan of, Axon, AXON, had another beat and raised guidance, shares up 8%. So we've got some nice wins. I forgot Syndex Pharmacy. Pharma leading the way here today, as we saw with Pfizer. They beat expectations, up about 15%. On the other side of that, one of the companies you and I like, Mealy, Mercado Libre, down about 6%. I could be looking at that one today as maybe a buy the dip type of opportunity. I do like them. They're not really that. Tariffs won't hurt them. They don't sell stuff in the U.S. So
Mercado Libre is the LATAM Amazon, right? But the problem that I still continue to, I for those of you who don't know, during COVID, when it was under 800, I was like, buy. This is silly pricing. And
remember, we did it here on the show just a few months ago too, when they dropped.
And we did the same thing again and again and again. They're always pushing up. The people in the LATAM area are buying. My problem with Mercado Libre, which I thought that they would do, is what Amazon has done, right? The AWS side of it, the technology side of it, and Mercado Libre hasn't really moved on that. They're mostly just selling product. But for those of you who don't know, Mercado Libre Peru, Mercado Libre Ecuador, Mercado Libre. So they are not like one big conglomerate, and they split up, which is great. I love that because it's more it's colloquial to their side, right? So if it's an Ecuador product, they can sell Ecuador products in Ecuador. It's cool. But you know, Mercado Libre needs to show me a little bit more than just selling products.
Okay. Another one getting hit here this morning, not surprisingly, Yum Brands missed on EPS and revenue. Again, those that don't know, that's your KFC, Burger King, Taco Bell conglomerate there. So down about 1.7%. Another one, Eaton, ETN. They had a beat on guidance on earnings and revenue, but weak.
Before you go down to Eaton, which I love most people, I'll talk about Yum Brands for a second. My thought process behind Yum Brands is very interesting. Yeah, the market's open, yeah, and I'm literally sitting here not doing much of anything. I do like Yum Brands, and I tell you what, Yum Brands has a market cap of $40 billion. Could you imagine a man like Warren Buffett with $360 billion on the sidelines buying Yum Brands to go with his Dairy Queen and the other things that he owns? I could see that, very much so.
I think he likes that international footprint that they have as much.
China, it's not like them, China, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be interesting. I don't know that one. The market is open here.
And
Advanced
number
decline up about 1750 to start off with. We do see QQQ. First moves are to the downside so far. And again, like we talked about, you really got to be watching for volume today. Otherwise, spikes in volatility are going to lead the day without any real true move. Wow, big spike to the downside, profit taken, not surprising here.
Yeah, be careful, folks. I'm telling. That's what we're saying. I mean, everything we're saying here. I mean, sitting here, I'm sitting on my hands. I'm watching this. You know, I really got massacred yesterday in Fig. Still not happy about Fig. I want to smack Figs around. It was overvalued, and the options market got it. But right now, look, if you look at Tesla or any of the ones that have been trading in the past, nothing here is showing what I want to be. Nothing. I mean, Palantir right now is upside of 8%, right? All that money is going into Palantir.
Yeah, no, without doubt.
But up 8.5% at 174 here. I know I saw Dan Ives talking about it going 200 here. But I don't, I just don't like. I don't know that I like it up here.
Yeah, like I said, I took a quarter profit. I will ride the rest towards that 200 level, and then look again.
I think I'm going to short Palantir, which I just did. So.
Nice moves to the upside here. Go ahead, Rigetti. Sorry, just checking my positions here.
Okay, I am now short Palantir 170. I'll get you the numbers here for you. 170, 175.69 is where I am short now.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a combo of things going on here, so it takes me a second to look through. There you go.
Oh, I need to keep my eyes open here. 174.60, 57.
Got to watch that 176.25 area.
Ooh, there's a drop there. Look at that. Look at that drop. 174.64.
There you go.
Let's get another drop down here. I think it'll continue to drop a little bit as profit. There he goes. 59. 63. 70, 86, 97. That could push. I think they're trying, but I think we just drop it now. There you go.
Nice.
It's probably like it should happen here. 61. There it is. Do it again. 29. 30, 20, 08. And Howard, you know how I work. That was a nice move there to the downside. So
yeah, most people aren't trading quarters.
Look at that. Nice move to the downside there. And 174.27. And probably could have held on here because could break to 170. There it is, 173.82. Had a feeling. This is normal trading, folks. This is how we do it. If you need to do it with options, I do it with stock itself. Right now, at least, because I'm a little nervous about options because the option market. 173.62 now. Profit taking is hitting very hard now. I had a feeling that was going to happen. 35, 173.09. It's okay though. It's okay. But 170, we may break 173 here. I'm not sure of that. 73.19. Oh, we're gonna 5. Oh, come on. That might have been that might have been it. Oh, there it was 172.60. Damn it. All right, it's okay though. I was the right side of this one. I'm maybe a little gun shy because of Fig yesterday, but got a lot of that back yesterday. And that's a good point.
Nice.
Right. Even though yesterday I got beaten up, I've had a good streak of 3 weeks of wins, got beaten up in one of them, and get that 172.07. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Palantir all the way back to below the morning open now. 171.85 now. 66.59. I was way to the right side on this.
Yeah, but
and live. We did it live here on the air here. Ooh.
Nice. There we go. Nice move to the upside.
Spot gold here, 33.77, still pushing 37.51 now. Tick now up. Oh my God, Palantir down now at 170 now. It's almost to the point where now I think you could buy it back here to the upside. That's trading, right? I think the pricing here. All right, I think I will go long here, Howard.
Nice.
171.21. I might be a little wrong. Ooh, 170.69. I'm going long here. I think this is good here. Yep, there he goes. 171.68. 171.81. 172.38. You watched me do it live on the air and nailed it both ways. Well done. 172.62. That's trading, folks. Mispricing or pricing. When those sellers came in to take profit, you saw that, right? And I watched it do it. So they ran it up in the morning. We took that. Okay, I'm going to sell it because I think that the sellers are coming in because they're happy. And then when they went in, the buyers were ready to come back in, and that's what they did. So we won both ways on that. So that's what trading is about. When I talk about the mispricing of pricing, this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. And I saw that clearly, right? You watch the markets, you think, and I talk about psychology, right? The psychology of trading. This is what I mean by the psychology of trading, right? Okay, the buyers are waiting. Here we go. When do we get in? When do we get in? Okay, you know what? There's the numbers. You saw the charts, right? There's the charts. 172.60 now, 172.67, 172.77. We saw the top. Now I got a little early on the buyback, right? I got a little early on that and it kept falling. Got down to those numbers in the charts. That's when charts should only be a part of what you do. Everything else around it, you need to have a clear picture all around it. What does Palantir do? We talk about Palantir all morning long. Now you've seen it. This is exactly BigBeat trading right here. And it proves it right now because yesterday's fig's gone. So yesterday's fig's lost at 173.34 now on that trade. So look at this. Now, and Qs are pushing now here again. Tick is now up. Tick now up to 230 now. Advanced decline line really doing well here, Howard. Really good day here, up 6,000. So spot gold 33.77. Yep, and it's low volume.
What do you see advanced decline at?
Right now, U.S. stocks advanced decline line. I'm showing 5,000.
I'm showing 1451.
Let me refresh my screen, but I think that's what. Advanced decline, yeah.
Showing 1364 currently. I show high of the day 1889.
Advanced decline.us. I'm showing 59.49. Maybe my the computer's working.
Yeah, everything's working on mine too.
ADV.us.
Yeah. ADVDEC.us. US stocks advancing, declining. Yeah. The one I use every day. Or USI.
And you know what? You may be right. Mine might have stopped here.
Just didn't want you to give. Like, wait a second.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
I'm like, we're only up a quarter point on the Qs. That was a quarter point, 514.
Running, but this one seems to stop.
No problem. Just wanted to make sure.
And it's the same one, so I think that this one's good. 174.38 now on Palantir. So I might be the end of that too. You know, keep your eyes tight and clean and making sure you're watching. But
Ron's asking about Rubric.
okay,
I don't really have much of an opinion on them personally.
I don't have much opinion on Rubric, to be honest with you.
I don't know much about them, Ron. I don't want to give you false info there. Strictly from a chart level, it's actually a pretty decent looking chart. Got a break. Oh, I'm not sharing. Hold it. 1 second to share my screen here with you. There you go. From a chart, Ron, you're looking pretty good. If it holds the 50-day MA, you stay above 90.35, you're looking good for a run back up towards about 97, 98. And then you could look for a bigger recovery, the top side of the channel. RSI has been a little ragged. Hourly chart's turning over a little bit today, but more on your daily chart. You look pretty good there. So tick is positive about 391 here this morning, or right now. Advanced decline, like I said, is up about 1,600. It is moving back to the upside. So BigBeat telling everybody it was up 6,000, got it moving to the upside. DXY, the dollar is taking a little bit of a bounce here. Hasn't been able to break out of what is sort of that liquidity zone that Steve Flanagan talked about with us yesterday. Quite frankly, in between this 98.15 on the downside and 99 on the top side. That to me is sort of a neutral spot for it right now. Would need to see a break one way or the other to say that, you know, the dollar is either moving back to king dollar or we're back at more risk of downside. Gold 33.78 holding up very nicely here. Quite honestly, again, Peter Thomas told us, you know, watch that 3,300 level. If it holds it, you can buy that dip, and he has been right all the time. Bitcoin back up, or actually a little bit down from, it had gone up to about 114,500 here after the cash open, but in a fairly healthy spot still again here. Needs to regain 117 to think the bullish narrative is fully back in play, and anything above 110 keeps us at least short-term neutral to bullish. Silver at 37.52, another one that's been building up with lower lows and lower highs over the last 3 days. Ethereum looking a little bit stronger than Bitcoin has so far, giving us not a higher high today, but a higher low, and holding up at a key Fibonacci level at that 36.25 area. Any hold there above 25.45 keeps me more bullish on Ethereum than even Bitcoin currently. Crude's dropped back down the opposite, as we didn't really talk about it so far, but OPEC came out. They are going to increase their production again, or end their decrease to production. So oil has been getting hit here. WTI back at $65. We look at the Mag 7 so far. You know, I wanted to bring up, Steve, you are back. Perfect. Tesla, Steve, is it a car company or not? Would be my first question. No. Okay. So then you don't care. I was going to ask if you cared about the fact that, again, you know, Europe, they're getting hit hard. Their Germany sales of Tesla were down 55% year over year. That's with the overall auto market in Germany up 11.1%. And they were outsold by BYD for the first time. So there in the UK, their sales were down 60%. And again, BYD's sales are more than 3 times the amount. They sold less than 1,000 units. BYD, the Chinese company, sold 3,184. And other countries reporting large July declines: France, Spain, Sweden, and Norway, all showing major year-over-year decline.
I think the problem with cars right now is that it is very simple. It is rates. Cars aren't in general upgrading very much. There's not like this big reconfiguration of what the car is going to look like. They pretty much pulled from the year before, and everybody's just waiting on a new car. You know, I buy a new car depending on the rates. Sometimes I lease, sometimes I don't. Right now, leasing is the only way to go with a new car. I wouldn't buy a new car because you're valuing everything. And people go, oh well, lease, you still got to pay the rates. Yeah, you do. And if you have a wreck, yeah, it sucks. But right now, it's not the way. and to me right now, I wouldn't even buy a new car.
Yeah. So with that being said, Tesla's European decline is not due to overall EV softness or car softness in Europe, which has actually been up. Other brands, especially BYD, are gaining share.
Tesla's problem is Elon Musk.
Yeah, the growing anti-Elon sentiment in Europe is also impacting sales.
Extremely high, and not just in Europe. It's high, it's really bad here too. So him getting that big package to stay on is a little weird. To me, it feels like that they're just keeping him on to find a replacement for him. But $30 billion pay package to keep him. Oof. PMI coming out at 55.1. Forecast there was 54.6. So PMI pushing up again. Inflation.
Yep, definitely. You know, what do you mean we don't have inflation?
Yeah, we do. But it's not that bad though. That's what's getting me here.
Well, it matters. I mean, it matters where you look.
Oh, it matters always.
Beef's horrendous. You know, quite honestly, there. You know, groceries have been pretty high. That sort of
groceries have been outrageous. Yes. I will tell you, I was at and I don't, you know, I was at Sam's Club picking up a few things. I don't normally go to Sam's.
Yesterday myself.
Oh, good. You know, look, I tell you what, I do like Solana here. I may pick some more up here down here. I like this drop here. Thanks to the president this morning on CNBC. He's giving me another gift horse in the mouth. Don't, you know, it is what it is.
That's fine.
I'll tell you, you know what I think?
You started to tell me about Sam's there, sir. You were starting to tell me about Sam.
So I looked at the prices of things, and you know, I think one of the things we needed to buy was the battery on our Dyson is dying here, right? So I need a new Dyson. Great. And as I, you know, go through now there's not just one Dyson, now there's 10 Dysons, and there's 10 Sharks, and there's 10. So that cannibalization of commodities and personal consumption, there's all kinds of parts of all kinds of things, right? We're not just looking at one thing anymore, and that to me tells me that people just aren't buying. They're buying cheaper. They're not buying quality anymore, which tells you that we are in a recession. It's one of the things that I always look for. When we're in a good economy, people buy quality products when they have to, when they can't, right? So not just cheaper products at a cheaper time. That's what's happening right now.
I noticed yesterday at Sam's a lot of discounts, a lot of sell-offs. So they didn't sell a lot of their summer stuff. And now they're all on discount, you know, grills, all that kind of stuff, even more so than normal. So that's another thing I'm going to watch. Is I do think people held back on their buying a little bit, and companies front around the tariffs, right? What did that lead to? It led to, I think, a surge in inventories here that could be a benefit to some. So that might hold down the inflation also. So I will point that out, that I did notice people buying the dip at Sam's yesterday. The stuff that was marked down, they were grabbing it. They were grabbing it.
Palantir pushing it again here, trying to go to the high, but they're really struggling at that 176 handle there. So, you know, be careful out there. The tick indicator now up 418. Look, you know what I am seeing in this market? I think that what's happening here is we're catching these short squeezes. There's a lot of major banks and trading houses that are very short this market, waiting for this market. And what they're doing, they're catching those shorts. So be careful out there. I think that's what's happening right now. I think this is some short squeezing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Palantir 175 and a quarter here, 175.35.
Yeah, I'm loving my Palantir. UNH, nice little push up here today.
Yes, I like UNH down to the bottoms. They still have a lot of problems. I like UNH. Everybody knows I think the insurers are doing the right thing here. But it's not a complete push yet. So I for me, it's got to be where we start to. This is why Trump is pissed off with the banks. Banks discriminated against me after the first term. Okay.
I told you. He said that J.P. Morgan and Bank of America kicked him out.
Just stop.
That's what I can't wait to see what Jamie Dimon has to say about that, because he won't pull punches.
Just stop. Oh, you're the president of the United States, and that's just it's a bully mentality. Knock it off. You're president of the United States. Act like it. All right, so 114.3. We're having a little struggle there. Bitcoin there.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
Yep. Look for a pullback towards that 112 again.
Stop it, Howard.
It's not, but Bitcoin's not taking off. The alts will get a little more power. Sorry, I gotta close that
Seeing a
off.
really big call ratio here. Put call ratio on Dino, D-I-N-O. That's a new one for us. D-I-N-O-H-F Sinclair Corporation. For those of you who don't know, that's an oil company. Big calls here. Not sure what the numbers are yet. I haven't looked at the numbers here, but Sinclair Oil is I mean, we've talked about it for a while that the oil companies here, especially the ones in here in the US, should do well with Saudi Aramco. There's XOM over the last. We'll pull up a daily chart on XOM, ExxonMobil.
Sorry, I'm entering something. ExxonMobil, XOM. There you go.
You can almost trade this daily, and if you've got big numbers on it, you could almost crush this one. It's pretty easy to see to the downside, but you can see where the lines are. It's if you're into trading and technical indicators, higher bottoms, higher lows, you're creating a massive pennant flag, and it looks like to me a bear flag. So it may push up here a little bit, and then it'll try another down swing. So be careful. You got to keep your eye on oil, but oil right now, I mean, it's what's that, 65.96 now a barrel, $66 a barrel. Oof. I mean, it was 70 not too long ago, right? So how about with you, I'll have to ask. Indonesia now talking about being a crypto Bitcoin treasury as well.
Yeah. Everybody should have some. Sorry, I'm trying to exit some trades.
You're like Palantir 175.17 now, still pushing here.
I just took partial exit on a Palantir strangle swap that we had in place.
Okay. Strangle swap. You want to explain that to people?
No, I don't. But it's a fun. I sold and bought calls both highly above and below Palantir's spot yesterday.
What he's saying is he's positive on Palantir, and he bought calls above and he sold calls below. All right,
and
so
puts both.
Okay, first that was the first
four leg. Right. I bought the count. So to open, I sold this week's expiring 135 put and 185 call, and I bought next week's 135 put and 185 call. Same strikes.
Okay, so the bottom side is hoping the downside. So this side, so it's bullish but slightly bullish. That makes sense. I do the hand signal because it makes it a lot easier, right? So if you're selling puts and you're buying puts, a little lower, you got the corners here and the corners up here for the calls. And then the idea is he's a little bit more bullish because his calls are higher, so he's doing it this, right?
Yeah,
and he's losing here, but he's winning here.
Palantir would have a beat, and the price would move up. The implied volatility was pushing a bigger move all the way past 185. I didn't buy that juice. I said we're going to get close, but not there, and so that's what I did. And I used the calendar as an ability to also do it in a less expensive way. But yeah, so it was a little complicated there. 4 legs. Ron says he's confused. Yeah. Strangle swap, Ron. Strangle swap. You buy and sell calls above and below, and you use a calendar to do so. Buy yourself time for it to play out.
And the swap, the swap is what he's talking about. Is he's very interested in maybe owning the shares too, possibly.
Yeah.
As he does broken legs, meaning that as he pulls off his positions on each side, the broken legs. Let's say he takes the puts off completely, and leaves the calls on. And he could have gone positive, which he didn't. I think you took it all off. Is that correct?
I took off a partial, so I'm still in it because what will happen is when it expires, when the 2 legs expire worthless on Friday, it will jump another level, and then I'll take full profit.
That spot was smart.
So,
yeah, makes sense.
So what I
okay,
do
so what he's saying is the crush to the end of the what dates are these?
I have the ones that I sold expire this Friday. The ones I bought expire next Friday.
So okay, so he knows he's gonna get crushed on that side of it. So he needs to clean those up. What's interesting is I'm surprised you're not rolling those over.
No reason to. It's doing what I wanted. I own some Palantir as it is. This was a hedge play a little bit, so to speak, with a bullish things.
And then there's your answer.
Hold it 1 second. I got a question here.
All right. I do have a meeting at 10. I do need to go to. I have a meeting.
No problem. We'll get out of here in 1 second. So I'll ask you, market is up. I think we have an up day. I do think we continue to see up day. I think that sell-off came. I think that is going to give enough to retail to maybe continue to wet their whittle here today. What are you thinking, BigBeat?
No, I think we pull back.
You think we go up?
No, I think we come down.
Go down. Okay.
I do. I think that I think this buying up here is on low volume, and I think the institutions are still smiling as they continue to dump their shares and dump their products and dump their what they own. No, I think that it's getting very concentrated on what they are owning was Mag 7, and I think that concentration is now being moved into AI, and institutions aren't completely sold on AI.
Right, absolutely. I just think that the president spoke this morning. The tweet analysis has already gone through. I think that people are looking. I think AI is going to carry us today. That's what I do think happened. I think
they have to. Yeah, I mean, if we're going to go higher, it has to carry it.
Are gonna carry us throughout the day. And that's what I'm sort of looking at for today. That's what I was looking to see if that was where the profit took and happened. It didn't. If you look at QBT, it's not at the highs of the day at 17.13, but holding up at 16.90.
99.03 on the Dixie, so that's going to be pushing against us as well. So the dollar about to get back over 100.
That's good to see. It's right at the zone Mr. Flanagan said to watch for here. This 99.03 is right at the top of that liquidity zone he talked about. A break above that.
Yeah, here you go. JP Morgan just comes out. Jamie Dimon says, we don't close accounts for political reasons, and we agree with President Trump.
I told you. See, that's where I should be. I should be a poly market better because I could have set the market on that immediately that he was going to come out. Jamie Dimon doesn't pull punches. That's why I do like him. For that, I hate him as a banker, and I hate his views on crypto and what he's done to the market. But I do love that he does not care who it is that he's speaking to. He's going to speak his mind.
Jamie Dimon says banks cannot provide services to individuals who have been indicted, so they were unable to.
That's right. I didn't want to. Like I said, I thought I knew what he was going to say, but I was not going to put the words into his mouth. And I assumed that that's what they were going to come back and said. Hey, we're just following the law that says to debank certain felons from certain things.
I mean, when you become an indicted felon, that's just what happens, right?
Yeah, they get a little nervous. Okay, on that stellar news, we will close it up for the day. For BigBeat, I am Hondo. You guys have a great day.